joining us right now from somewhere around the world. Mike from around the world. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Pastor Paul, doing well tonight.
That's wonderful, because somebody's going to have to help explain to us. Earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes, nuclear bases in the same area. Mike, what's going on? What's happening in this last week?
Oh, boy, everything. Everything is starting to happen.
Did we dodge a bullet with this? This was the 6th largest earthquake in the history of the world.
Yeah, I don't think it's over.
You don't think it's over?
No, I don't.
Talk
I don't
to
think
us.
it's over.
Talk to us.
Well, it's a multifaceted situation, but I do know that the North Pacific is really active right now. The entire Ring of Fire, yes, but for example, today there was there's lots of some small cracks between Washington and Oregon out in the waters, and of course that's not very promising.
No.
Not to mention there's a vibrational rumbling taking place on the west coast of the USA. So if the Ring of Fire is losing its stability because of plate tectonics, we're in for a brand new ride here.
Okay. And while this is going on, yes, we know Atlas is coming. The sun is very volatile. You've talked about in the past the 5 waves of energy. We have wars, rumors of wars. So, and not counting all this, like these fault lines in the North Atlantic. There was an earthquake up north of Canada, between Canada and Greenland. It was a 5.0 today. Nobody's even talking about it.
Yeah.
Southern California at a 4.4. Nobody even talking about it. I mean, is this going to become an everyday occurrence?
Yeah, if you look at this over time, there's a notable increase in earthquake activity, specifically, with what's involved. At first, the sun did its due diligence on the earth, but now we have other forces, right? If the sun's energy, if its influence is minimized, we will automatically have an influence from another source. It's kind of like having a magnet, right? And another magnet behind it. If you move the closest magnet out of the way, you still have magnets behind it. So you're going to have some sort of interaction between those forces. And there's also a reason that we're getting these. Well, I can't let that one out yet. Let's just say that Atlas.
Okay, go ahead.
The Atlas. This Atlas issue, where it came from.
Okay.
There will be observations of others coming from a pretty high arc. They will, the next ones to be discovered, right? If I'm right on this, if nothing else hits, there's some high arc objects that will be headed in our direction.
Are these interstellar?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So even that will become, that's not going to be an unusual thing. I just believe that we're in a very different part of existence right now. It's not like we have space mapped out all the way. And there's some unexpected things happening. And of course, I believe we live in a binary system. So the forces of this binary twin, right, are going to interact on the solar system, which means here's the one. I'm not the only one, watching Jupiter. Do you know that Jupiter is our protection? You know that, right? If something happens to Jupiter.
Why is it our protection? Because it creates a balance with our sun?
Well, it does that, but its gravitational pull protects us from a lot of objects. The secondary line of defense would be the asteroid belt, right?
Okay.
If something happens to Jupiter, that's taking the gates down, and the inner solar system is highly vulnerable. The only reason we have not been, obliterated so far is because of Jupiter.
Well, praise God.
To say that bluntly.
Praise God.
So yeah, the solar system is set up in this perfect a perfect sense for protection. It is absolutely perfect in what it does. But if something happens to Jupiter, all the inner planets are going to be in trouble, including us. I mean, big time. Because if anything disturbs the asteroid belt, just think about that. I know we have a lot of objects coming in,
Yes, yes.
but think about what these objects could potentially disturb. That's one thing sometimes we will fail to think about, is that if anything disturbs our satellites, if anything disturbs the asteroid belt, right, that could potentially end us here on Earth.
We don't want
If,
that.
well, think about something getting past Jupiter and it goes right through the asteroid belt. It's going to be like a pool table, right? You can have one object hit another, hit another. They're going to be headed in towards us, towards the sun, right?
Yes.
That's going to be right in our orbit. So we'll have a meteor storm that we didn't expect. That's almost a guaranteed impacts on the Earth, right? And if something hits these satellites, if anything hits these satellites, it's going to be like a ricochet. One will ricochet off the other one. Satellites carry some pretty volatile um, pods, right, with some dangerous chemicals inside. Some of these satellites are small cubic. Satellites are very old, right? Think of a container like a half gallon of milk that if it fell into the atmosphere, it could kill all life on Earth in probably about a month.
You know, BP talked, we just had BP Earthwatch on just before you came on. And he was talking about, we were talking about Comet or the Atlas, whatever it is. But he kept saying, here's the problem we have, and that is there's that asteroid YR4 that's coming about 7 years from now that may not hit us, but now that it could very well hit the moon. And if it did, it would create some massive explosion and rocks flying. And first of all, it would shatter the object, but also the moon itself. And we would be, we could be affected by it.
Would be affected by it.
Where are we at with that? Do you have some
well,
calculation?
If anything hit the moon, first of all, we're gonna be in trouble, right?
Yeah.
That gravitational field that we share, right? This balance that the Earth and the moon is in is very delicate. It's also pretty strong. The moon should have gone out of orbit a long time ago, but it has not. There's no degradation in its gravitational positioning. So if something crashed into the moon,
Yeah.
we're going to have debris headed towards us for about, I'd estimate for about maybe 5 days, 5, 6, 7 days.
Okay, so he confirmed it. He didn't know exactly how long, but he said we would be have for several days or so.
And that depends, because if it takes a big chunk out of the moon, those chunks are going to orbit, and every time they orbit, they're going to lose their altitude, so to speak, or distance from the Earth. So they'll crash into the Earth too.
Yeah.
Right. They had a simulation on this, and based on the chunk taken out of the moon, we could have some sort of meteor storm for about a month, up to a month, right? Depending on how much material is ejected from the moon. So that wouldn't be good. And yes, there is a possibility of these objects, right, disrupting, hitting satellites, hitting the moon. Right. There's always that possibility. It is. We've been blessed so far that we can see an object that's way out there and nothing has hit that object. Right.
Yeah.
Now think about Atlas. If it comes in and something hits that object. Now two things will happen here. It could alter the trajectory of Atlas. It could also send debris directly towards us. It could send more junk towards us, right? So, and it's so far out there, this could happen at any time, which is why, Space Command, those guys track things like that to see what could potentially happen. But I think that to minimize this one would be would be a bit foolish. I say that because the meteor storms, the meteor showers that we have, the scheduled ones, they're at their thickest points this year, 2025, 26, and 27. They're going to be at their most abundant points, meaning there's a lot of material headed towards us in these standard meteor showers. Because of that, we already have, in a sense, debris headed towards us. If those trajectories begin to intersect, we're going to have a double problem. We're going to have a problem we didn't expect.
I see.
I do suspect that's going to happen. I have a very strong suspicion that will likely happen.
So in other words, in 2025, 2026, 2027, we're going to encounter a meteor shower already we know is coming. But now you're saying there's now a possibility that more ricocheted rocks that's coming out of the interstellar, coming from somewhere, could cause even more problems that we don't even know. And that's kind of, the Bible says that in the last days that, that the heavens are going to, the stars are going to fall from heaven like a fig tree casting its untimely figs as it's shaken of a mighty wind. So something's going to happen in the heavens, right, Mike?
Yeah, it will. And sometimes we look at the word of God as though these events will happen in 1 hour, then they'll be over, right?
No, but they won't. No.
When the seals open, nobody shuts the seals. This is a cumulative effect, Revelation is.
Thank you.
So everything builds and builds and builds. And if you start looking at right up to the sixth seal, we're already in trouble, right? We could literally right now, we've had so many things initiated. Right now, we could really say we're right there at the sixth seal, right?
Yep.
We could say that.
Yep.
Because everything has been taking place. There's a constant death rate. Disease is taken over. There's a type of herpes that is in the schools now, right?
What?
And wrestlers are they're starting to transfer this one to another, athletes. So if you touch the mat, and one of these teens have had that, there's no cure for it either.
Wait a minute.
So that's just one thing. That's
what kind of herpes?
Teenagers.
What kind of herpes is that? What is it?
It's
like a cold sores and
no, it starts with, it's often misdiagnosed. It starts with lots of pimples on the forehead.
Okay.
Right. Normally a kid's hair is covering that up, and it spreads throughout the body. Now, most doctors have misdiagnosed this on many of these kids, and it's spreading like wildfire. It's spreading so bad to the point now they're suing a lot of these. Some of these parents are starting to sue the schools, right? Because they didn't safeguard against that.
No, so you're saying contact sports could start spreading a type of herpes virus?
Well, it is spreading it. It's not a good. It is. It's already begun. So,
I mean, what's the plan? I mean, are they going to shut down contact sports? Are they going to change how they go about it? What
I don't know. That's one of a lot. One of a lot.
Where did it come from, Mike? Where did it come from?
Who knows, Pastor Paul? But this stuff they're feeding kids. I got a question for you. All the hamburgers that people eat. Why don't I ever see a lot of cows in every single state to account for all these hamburgers? I'm just saying.
Mike, you're trying to say that the hamburger might be not really beef, but something else.
Well, I mean, all these McDonald's and all these Whoppers.
Right. Where's all the meat? Where's all the meat coming from?
You should see cows every 10 feet, but you don't.
Are they using human?
You don't.
Are they using humans?
Well,
Mike?
We know that they've been growing meat for a long time. We know they have the bioengineered labels.
Oh, it's not meat. It's not
We
meat.
know the laws. There are laws now that state that these fast food restaurants do not have to put a bioengineered label on their sandwiches and things, right?
No.
So it's everywhere.
No.
It's everywhere.
No.
Yeah, it's not
Mike.
good.
Okay.
So anyway, these diseases are spreading, Pastor Paul. So not only these diseases, the death rate. All right. Look at it. We've had a severe lack of childbirth lately.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's almost a 1-to-1 ratio between those who are born and those who die. That means we have a stagnant civilization. It means we're not growing. right? In fact, I believe they said the death rate has overtaken the birth rate, which means there are more people dying than being born, so nothing is being replenished. Um, more and more families have decided not to have children. This
Yeah.
is a big problem. In 2023, 2024, and 5, more people have decided not to have children. It's almost a 50% cut in the population, just like that. You know how they state that somebody's trying, they want to decrease the
Yes.
population?
Depopulation.
They
Yes.
already effectively did that. You stop childbirth. That's how you do it. And you don't have to do that evasively. You psychologically, right? Divert or just turn people away from having kids. How do you do that? Through struggling, right? Financial management, financial hardships,
Yes.
differences, and all these things are happening. It has worked. It's worked. It's effective.
And war.
So,
And war. Look what's going
yeah,
on.
war.
Mike, we've been
But
on
I'll
the
tell you what,
brink of war in
we are.
Cambodia and Thailand,
We are.
India and Pakistan, China and Taiwan. And we've already got the wars in the Middle East. We've already got Russia and Ukraine. And I don't see any of those. I don't see a remedy. Do you see a remedy?
No, in fact, there is an escalation point coming. I believe Russia has a mandate. Remember last week I said, poor Russia, they have some soul searching to do, right? So maybe this earthquake helped them out, but they really do have some soul searching to do.
Yeah.
And it does not look good in the Middle East. It
No, it
simply
don't.
does not.
It does not.
There's an air of false peace that people should be feeling right now, right? It's almost like all the horrific news has stopped, other than weather, of course. But you have these countries getting ready. I mean, they're really getting ready. Turkey is going back to the negotiating table with Syria and Israel and some other countries. That'll be the end of this next week. We're going to see what comes out of that, because if they don't have some sort of agreement going forward, um, the financial strain is just taken away too much now. It's taken away
What about
somebody.
What about the United Nations? Emmanuel Macron leading the way. Everybody got together except the United States and Israel, and they literally are going to this September. The UN in New York is going to be ugly, trying to force. They want to force a two-state solution, Mike.
Well, we know what's coming. We know what's coming.
Yeah.
We know what's coming. The USA and Israel the USA in particular right now is being isolated.
Yeah,
You're
right.
Thought it looked bad for Israel. You just wait. AI is out, right? Artificial intelligence is out. You have other countries who in about 4 months' time, they're going to be on par with the USA, very diverse in a lot of ways. They will join hands together, right, within this digital infrastructure against the USA. And the USA knows it. The Trump administration is aware of this. He has a lot on his plate. So what we're in the middle of right now is a true global change. I mean, it's a real global change, and it's going to cause additional pressures in several areas, but it will eventually lead to war. There's no political solution. War is an extenuation of politics by other means, and so here we are. We're going back to war again. In my opinion, war has never stopped.
Right.
It's not stopped. It's been going on for some time. And then these national disasters are only going to, make it worse. We're coming up to a season now. They know we have inbound forming storms. They already know that. They know the damage. The potential damage of these storms is going to be,
Mike,
beyond belief.
Remember when you said there's going to be thunderbolts? There was a lightning flash that was 515 miles long. This was the longest. This is a new world record for a lightning bolt. It went from somewhere in Texas to Missouri, and it broke the record of 477-mile lightning bolt. They know this because of satellites watching the. So, Mike, what in the world is going on? You said this would happen. I remember this about 10 years ago. You telling me, hey, Paul, there's going to be thunderbolts. Soon there'll be thunderbolts. Are we there?
Those are atmospheric changes. Of course we are. For example, right now, there's been an increase in those who have been struck by lightning inside their homes. Let me give an example of that. A home where lightning bolt goes through the wall, through a couple of rooms, to the shower, through the shower to the basement. This is happening just about every single storm that has been observed. So lightning is now penetrating homes. It doesn't matter if you're inside or out, right? Which personally I think is a good thing, because people should understand that they're being kept by God's grace, not by human intuition and cleverness. That's God's grace. But these lightning bolts are penetrating everything.
Good thing.
Everything.
You say it's a good thing? Well, I mean,
Yeah, it's a good
meaning,
thing.
meaning what?
Personally, I like lightning and thunder because it reminds mankind gets quiet when the thunder and lightning comes, right? They
Yeah.
begin to respect the force higher than they are.
My two cats and my dog freak out. I mean, yeah, everybody gets quiet. You're right about that, because
I like it because if the Lord determines when a person goes and when a person stays, right? There's no coincidence.
That's true.
There's a determination.
That's true.
I believe in that determination, not coincidence. So when lightning starts, when it gets heavy like that, mankind has a habit of folding his arms and putting his head down. He'll hush finally. Man is sometimes too loud. Anyway, lightning is getting bad, and so are the vertical sprites going up the opposite direction.
Okay, talk about that.
Sprites are red in color, right? It's like a big plume of plasma that starts at the base of a cumulonimbus cloud, at the upper portion of it, going out into space. They have doubled since they've been observed. So you'd normally have maybe 5 or 6 for every 10 storms. They're seeing them every storm. And in Texas, I believe they called, or Oklahoma, they called a vertical sprite below the clouds. It sustained itself, right? So very soon we're going to have a condition with plasma actually reaching the ground, sustained plasma reaching the ground. In the old world, if you ever see a emblem that looks like an upside down pyramid with a pyramid below it, like an hourglass, right? That is believed to be a sustained plasma conduit. That's what that's believed to be.
Really? I did not know that.
In the etchings of these rocks. Everybody has their interpretation, but there was a group of folks I got this from, and they, I was learning all about these etchings. And they said the spiral, and that represents a sustained plasma conduit.
Okay.
Right? Which there have been examples of that, but we'll start having those too. If anything or anybody touches a plasma conduit, because they sustain themselves for about, it's kind of like, think of ball lightning, right? Ball lightning, but held in one position. And if anybody goes near that thing, they're going to get zapped. They sustain themselves for about 2 to 5 minutes, and then they're gone.
All right, Mike. CERN, okay? They just went wide open with it. Maybe the greatest they've ever done. Now, they have recently discovered what they call antimatter, but it's called a qubit. Antimatter qubit that could upend physics. Now, what they're also saying, and I want to get your take on this, that this recent activation of the Large Hadron Collider, there's been strange sounds heard, energy waves released, and visual anomalies. They said, since we found the God particle, the Shiva statue, and of course, we know what the Shiva statue means. It means it's the god of the underworld, has moved. So I want to get your take on that one.
Well, think of this: a quantum qubit. Right?
Okay.
A bit can be a 0 or a 1 in a computer, right?
Okay, yeah, you're right.
A qubit can be a 0 and a 1 at the exact same time.
Like a negative and a positive at the same time?
At the exact same time, right? So in essence, an answer to a question exists the moment you ask the question, right?
Okay.
So in quantum computing, they have determined it's a better translation if they were to say that information is being pulled from a parallel existence, right? Because you cannot have an answer to a question
Parallel.
prior to the question being asked. You can't have that, right? So instead of receiving an answer on a calculator to your input while you're typing on your calculator in another dimension, so to speak, you've already asked a question. And in some parallel dimension, you've asked a question and the answer is coming back,
Okay.
right?
Does that mean
So
that would be like you pierce the veil?
that's piercing the veil.
Yeah, talk to us. So explain.
So when you do that, right, when you start to access in a very real sense these hyper dimensions, these dimensions that are either so tiny they're incomprehensible or so abstract, no one would ever have the technology to actually pull from it. If they were to do that, wouldn't that cause an imbalance? Right?
Yeah.
I subscribe to the fact that God has all things in balance. No matter how hard we try, right? Everything returns in balance. We polluted the atmosphere, we still have balance, right?
That's true.
Cars do that, we still have balance, we can still breathe. And we're just going through an earth transition, but balance is everywhere. But if you start pulling from, say, a spiritual dimension that you're tampering with, you pull that into this realm of existence, then this realm of existence is going to have to give something up to balance that out, right?
Yes.
If everything is in balance, you just simply can't take from one
No, because if
domain
you
to
take
another.
from one, you have to replace
That's
it with
right.
another.
That's
So
right.
if you got
Same thing
matter,
happening.
if you got matter, you're going to have antimatter, and they got to balance. Am I right?
Right. You can't pull a bunch of antimatter into where you had the matter, right? They know what happens. They've
Yes.
seen what happens on a small scale. On a small scale, it is devastating. And so this is why you have a lot of scientists who have been removed from CERN, right? Because they believe that something has already happened. It's just that the people are not aware of it.
Well,
Right.
no, that's right. That's right.
And in quantum computer, when you're dealing with quantum computing, it is an impossible science. It is incredibly abstract, weird. They call it spooky sciences, right?
Yeah.
So of course, you're going to, in order to get antimatter and things of that nature, you're going to have access to a realm. Now, here's the funny part. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
They know that purely through technology, you cannot access that realm. I'm going to give you a key that goes all the way back to the beginning when they started this stuff.
Okay.
In order to access those realms, in order to have the weapons they want, in order to access some of the technology they're really trying to make work, you have to access the demonic realm. Period.
Whoa! So
Point
you're
blank.
saying that, like for instance, the nuclear bomb, these type of weapons of mass destruction, you got to go beyond nature's physics, beyond astrophysics, beyond mathematician geniuses. Are you saying
what they're doing at CERN? Yes. Now a nuclear bomb, that's right at the edge. That's
okay,
right at the edge.
Okay.
Beyond that, though.
Let me ask you this. Let me read this to you. The explanation behind the universe's matter-antimatter asymmetry is an apparent violation of a fundamental law of nature known as charge party time, or CPT.
Yeah.
Symmetry is one of particles physics' greatest mysteries. A new study has detailed how scientists at CERN created an antimatter qubits, which could improve physics investigations into magnetic moment differences between matter and antimatter. But this breakthrough, all along with CERN's ongoing efforts to protect the transport of particles to other laboratories, could drastically change the balance of the universe.
Yep, you hear that? The transport of particles.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that transport means to bring it into this realm to make it usable. They can observe it. They can even have measurements concerning it. They
Okay.
can even recreate it. But what they can't do is they cannot to utilize it. That's a different mechanism. And with quantum computing, they're actually doing it on an information level, right?
Okay. Okay.
All those folks working on those quantum computers, they were scared 3 months ago. Something just kind of shook them a little bit because a very complicated algorithm. They needed the output. Now you're talking about an algorithm that all the computers in the world would take about 1,000,000 years to produce. They get back before they even finish asking what the algorithm is.
Really?
So just let that sink in. All the computers in the world, including the supercomputers and everything that Elon has, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these, everything the government has would take about 1,000,000 years to calculate what they were looking for. A quantum computer, it solved the problem before they could finish asking or inputting all the values for the algorithm.
All right,
So
Mike.
that's like you typing on a calculator. You want to know
Mm,
100 times 1,000. Before you finish typing 1,000, the answer's back to you. That's what happened.
that's wild.
That's the impossible. That's the paradox,
I
right?
see. I
That's what
see.
they couldn't. They don't understand how that's working.
I
They
see.
do not.
Mike, I'm going to go to a sensitive subject right now, and I'm going to be careful, and that's the Epstein files. I got to be very careful with this here on YouTube.
Right.
But obviously, Epstein was
Not a good guy.
not a good guy, and there were people who got involved in what he was doing
Yeah.
on some level. I'm not sure. Now, there's a lot of guilt by association that the media wants to throw on people. Billionaires hang out with billionaires. That doesn't mean all the billionaires are pedophiles just
That's right.
because you associated, because they all run in the same level. They go to the
Right.
same parties. They go to the same gatherings for charities. They go here and there. Some of those individuals in there are pure wicked, not all of them.
Yeah.
So we're coming down to this thing now where it looks like we're going to get some information. What is your thoughts on it? I'm hearing that if it was fully revealed, it might bring the government down, but I don't know if that's true. So I just want to throw it out there for you.
Well, the time we live in is dangerous. Rumors, right? People aren't looking for truth. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking
They're looking
for their position to be proven
I
right.
see.
And
I
that's all
see.
they want.
I see.
So if a person wants, say for example, a person wants a president guilty, then that person will not accept any other information but information that makes him guilty. All right. Those who want him exonerated, same thing. So it's not, people aren't necessarily looking for truth these days. That's not what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Because if they could just use their own brains, they'd realize something. Everybody in their youth, right, did some things they wouldn't want published to anybody else.
Yes.
If anybody's current day relationships were based on their youth, they wouldn't have a relationship. Chances are, right?
Right.
People change. And just because you associated with a person a long time ago, prior to them, being fully exposed for what they were, that doesn't make you an accomplice in
That's
their,
exactly right.
bad dealings.
That's
But
exactly right.
unfortunately, you have a lot of people out there, Passball. You can show them the truth all day. They only will believe what they have a strong desire to believe, or whatever has momentum in the media, right? That's the other part you have to fight. You have to fight the momentum in the media. If you constantly say something over and over and over again, you can take a rumor and cause that to be truth by way of the media. And now you're fighting an unfightable fight.
I agree with
So
you.
in this case, if information did come out, because of how polarized people are, it could pause the government. It could cause a big problem because people would not accept it, right? They just wouldn't accept that somebody could be innocent. They wouldn't accept it.
Okay. So in other words, they would assume guilty. They would assume the worst. Are you saying
Yes.
the public, the media?
They would say something is missing.
They would always
still say
say
something
the
is
worst
missing.
about everybody.
That's right. That's right. Well, the thing became, if it came forward and say a certain person had nothing to do with any of that, you know what the people would say, that they don't really want it that way. They'd say, no, they're holding it back.
Right. There's no way
They're
to
not
win.
bringing forth all the information, and that would continue and continue and continue,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Which is why it. But this does raise an opportunity for people to see a mechanism at play.
Okay.
When anything like this happens, and by the way, it's not initialized by America. I'll say that. But when something like this
Wow.
happens, it causes the populace to become stagnant. Right? If you look right now, because of the Epstein files, the economy has plateaued. It
Kind of
seems
flat. Yes, it
instantly.
has. It's
Right?
flatlined. Flatlined.
When people have a question in their mind, they will not go forward.
Yep.
So then those who govern this globe, they can't have that.
No.
So they always, at any time like this, and there's only been a handful of times like this, they change the story.
Yep.
They change the story. So it's a good time for people to observe, right? To see how that mechanism is going to work, because they will change. I'm telling you, they're going to change the story.
They have
And when
to.
they change the story,
Yep.
no one's going to be thinking about, Epstein. It's just not going to happen.
There's going to be bigger fish to fry, and I think that we're seeing that develop. So I feel horrible about the girls. I feel horrible about the children. I don't know what to do. I know Epstein was a weirdo. I know he was more than a weirdo. He was a demonic.
No, he's not
pedophile,
by himself.
But he's not alone.
There are worse people than him.
Yeah.
He's not even the worst. He's just the one that he was unfortunate enough for his information to be made public through an argument, right? Pastor, there are worse people than him.
I know.
There are worse people than him.
That's what worries me, that there are way worse people than him.
That's why California is happening. Anyway, but there are worse people than him.
Let's leave that there. Okay, Mike, let me just ask you, we'll touch that California thing at another day. All right, Mike, we had a plane, a Delta flight that was headed from Salt Lake City to Amsterdam, when all of a sudden it hit some type of pocket of air or whatever, and this thing had a massive what do you call it? Turbo. Turbulence. 25 people had to go to the hospital. The flight attendants were in the middle of the aisle passing out drinks when everybody hit the ceiling. If you didn't have a seatbelt on, they hit the ceiling. What's going on here? Is this going to happen more and more, or is it just a weird?
Yes. They're gonna have to lower the altitude of aircraft, which will increase the price of tickets, by the way. What? And they'll have to do this because our jet stream, right? Think of our jet stream. In that situation, if a jet crosses the trail of another jet too closely, right?
Yeah.
That air turbulence from those turbines will cause the other aircraft to hit that turbulent air. Once the airfoils go across that turbulent air, there's no lift, or there's too much lift, which means that aircraft is going to be jostled. It's going to be bumped up or down. Helicopters or worse. But with the jet stream, when you have cold and hot air, I mean real hot and real cold air,
right,
and they meet together, they cause vortices to form. When this happens, if any aircraft flies through that vortice, it is curtains. They're going to have a vertical descent that's much higher than they ever thought possible, and that has happened a few times, right? But it's getting worse and worse. This hot and cold air where they meet, the temperatures are unbelievable. Right? That's why it snowed in Lake Tahoe when it was hot one day, snowing the next, or Lake Tahoe, and that went away, and that happened in June, right? And there have been other temperature shears like that. They will get worse until they hit the point where aircraft will not be able to go to a certain AL or altitude, so their FL level is going to be quite low.
That's good explanation, and I think it's important that people understand with this jet stream, what you call atmospheric compression. it's going to cause the planes to have to fly at lower altitudes.
Right.
Is it also going to affect the hurricane? What do you think about this year's hurricane season? I'm down here in Florida, so we always are, we're a little nervous. We're really watching. Do you see it being worse? I mean, the water's hot. It's been 100 degrees here, Mike, every day for the last 10 days.
Pastor.
Okay.
Pastor, they're going to have to, I'm telling you, they're going to have to come up with a new chart for some of these, some of the power involved in these hurricanes. Atmospheric compression is higher density in the upper atmospheres, right?
Yes.
As we continue to go along, we have, to put it bluntly, a type of dust settling in the upper atmosphere. Every time that happens, the density goes up. Every time the density goes up, right, when this dust accumulates, heat can transfer from one molecule to the other. Where it was once hardly anything up there, right? Now it's starting to heat up. Anytime you have a hot upper atmosphere, this changes the potential energy and a few other properties in the upper atmospheres affecting everything below it, right?
Okay.
Take earthquakes, for example. And this is something that if you have a hotter upper atmospheric condition, it will increase the magnetic and voltage potential from the ground or the magma up into the upper atmospheres, right? This can cause magma to heat up in certain spots much higher than what it normally would. When that happens, it can cause slips in the crust of the earth, right?
Yes.
Because inside the earth governs the electromagnetic fields around the earth. But if you start to increase the energy out there, it's going to flow right back into the earth again, right? And it's going to cause this effect. Well, we're starting to have that. That increases lightning potential, static potential, right? Plasma potentials. That small difference in temperature of the upper atmosphere can alter everything here on Earth. That's what we're seeing. We could throw all the cars away, seriously, right now. The Earth is too active. And it's happening because for the last 6 years, we have absorbed a lot of radiation, more than
normal.
Any other
way,
time
way more than
we've
normal.
ever recorded, more than we've recorded. Galactic cosmic rays have been coming in like it's just one of those things. We have a weakened heliosphere. The shielding of this solar system is not what it used to be. And so you have a lot of galactic cosmic rays penetrating the solar system. Well, the Earth is going to observe some of that, right? And anybody with one of these particle tanks where they can see high-speed particles, people can make those at home. You can see the increase in these galactic cosmic rays going right across those platters. So that will continue. That's why they're building these neutrinos. And of course, the facility in the Arctic is not helping either.
What
because
facility?
It also, well, I can't talk. You have to look at that one, but it will increase atmospheric temperatures. At least my estimate will be about 3 degrees.
Okay, now the Arctic is the North Pole.
Mm-hmm.
There's a door up there, you said. Okay, so you're saying the facility in the Arctic is affecting?
Well, let's be fair. They have 2 twin facilities.
Okay.
Right? So if you find the information out about the transmitter in the south portions, you'll know about the other one. And the other one is in a far more,
So if I find out about the transmitter in Antarctica, I'll know more about the facility in the Arctic.
Twin system. It's a twin system.
Is this man-made? This is man-made, right?
Yes, it's man-made, and it is, Pastor. It is. It's enormous. It's one of the most. It's the most powerful machine on the face of the earth.
Wait a minute, Mike. I thought CERN and
no. It's just that nobody. See, unfortunately, when you don't know about something, it's hard to equate that into the total
I didn't know
formula,
anything about
right?
it. I mean, what are you doing? Yeah. What are we doing here, Mike? Okay, so I'm talking about CERN and antimatter and matter and the and the protons clashing, and you're telling me that up in the North Pole and down in the South Pole, there's the strongest, most powerful machines on the face of the earth.
Yep.
I got to look into that. Do I got to get Heidi researching?
She shouldn't, because it's so strong. They can track neutrons from, you're talking about light years from the Earth, right? They can also send a transmission faster than the speed of light. I know a lot of people are going to say there's no way nothing can go faster than the speed of light. Well, our science is paused on critical minds that established the first theories. Those theories have, many of them have been broken. They're good standards, but many of them have been broken. And if
Okay.
people don't,
And seals are going to break. The seals are cracking. Would you agree with me that in the Bible, the sixth seal? I'm saying that the sixth seal, we can hear the sound of the sixth seal cracking. You know, we is the Earth tilting? And we're going to do a webinar, Mike. We're doing a webinar.
We're tilting, all right.
Yeah. Okay. The name of the webinar, I'm trying to figure out, is it the sixth seal is breaking or the Earth is tilting? Maybe I'll use that term. But we're going to do a webinar on this Earth is tilting and all the things going on. If you can talk to us, I know some of this might be classified, so you can't go there. I realize it. But if we can talk a little bit and theoretically about this Antarctica and Arctic and when you say the Earth is tilting, all right, well, what's causing that? Is that Planet X? What's going on here?
That's a few things. The water on the Earth, right?
Okay.
If something could move the water, because it's a known fact that through water transfers, the Earth has actually tilted, right? A few degrees. This is through dams, right? Through the transferring of water, the Earth has actually tilted.
What do you mean the transferring of water? How's water being transferred?
Well, look at all the water that's being transferred from in several places to India on a continuous basis. Look at the water diversion plans that they had put in place. China did a lot of it with that dam that they had in China, right?
Okay, I get it.
When they stopped at that water, they actually caused an imbalance.
I agree with you. As a matter of fact, BP Earthwatch just typed in the chat room, the Great Dam in China tilted the Earth. Okay.
So think about if they can do that with a dam, what would happen if, I don't know, something could pull all the tide in one direction just for a few seconds? What do you think would happen?
It would shift the whole Earth.
There you go. So guess what? As it turns out, even by modeling and simulation, it only takes a half hour strange maneuver from our moon to tilt this Earth in a way that we'll never forget it, right? That means any force external from the moon, or some hiccup from inside the Earth, or some hiccup inside the moon or the sun or anything, could actually alter the moon just a little bit, and it would absolutely alter the whole face of the Earth.
Well, what does that do to our brains? Can I just ask that question? If the moon can alter the fluid of the Earth, what does it do to the human brain? I mean,
a lot. They sent those cosmonauts up without the shielding of the Earth, and they lost their frontal lobe connections. Their neurological connections did not hold, right?
Is that back in the 60s?
That was way back there. That was back when they first went into the when they sent that one dog up or a monkey up or something like that. Yeah. They sent an animal up, and then two people went up.
Yeah.
But the two people, there's a recording of those two people going up and never coming back. There's radio recording of screams and things of that nature. But the Soviet Union did quite a bit because they were ahead of us.
They were ahead.
We almost did the same thing through a failure. And that changed our space program in a big way. Well, I believe that's when it split.
Is that the Challenger that exploded, or was
No. That was during the
Apollo
Gemini
13?
missions.
Oh, Gemini. Okay.
Gemini missions. Okay. Yes, we found out in Gemini missions.
Okay.
But the point being is that our bodies are adapted to live on this Earth.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
Any changes in the upper atmosphere or anything causes people's knees to hurt and everything else, or the fluid starts swelling. Just the smallest changes cause us, lots of pain. And if the magnetosphere was not there, right, our neurological firing would not fire the way it does. We'd have a chemical imbalance in our brain. Our hormonal system would begin to alter. They had to replicate the magnetic shielding of the Earth for all spacecraft.
Hmm.
Right? These are costly devices because you have to have the Schumann resonance and the oscillation above and below that resonance to go in these
Yes.
spacecraft. That
Yes.
has to be reproduced. Um, so yes, it's a lot with that. Russia found that out. So if it changes, if our magnetosphere changes, so will the minds of people
Can
here
I?
on this
Okay,
earth.
all right. Let me ask you a big question here, and I know we're getting late in this broadcast, but Trump, the President Trump and his administration just launched a new private health tracking system with big tech to
Right,
track everything. But
right.
haven't they already been tracking everything that we do
Yeah,
and
nobody
buy?
has privacy.
There's no such thing, is there?
No,
Is
there's no.
this is
There's
this just the announcement of it?
Yeah, that's more of a formal announcement to get people comfortable with the idea.
Because it's
Right.
already
That's
it's
all that
already
is.
happening.
That's what it is. And it should, to my understanding, I believe it goes on a medical bracelet, right?
Yes, you said
And
bracelet.
yeah, everybody's going to have that bracelet. Well, they have their cell phones now. You know how people said before cell phones went digital, when they were analog and they were cell phones,
I remember that.
people said, I'm not going to take the mark. I'm not going to have anything like that has all my information on it. I want my bank card and my wallet, my phone in the home or something like that, they were saying. Well, when they had that mandate that all phones go digital and everything had to have a change in their SIM card, this, that, and the other, they put everything on the telephone. That conditioned everybody to look in one
Television.
place for everything they have, right?
Television went digital.
Yeah. It
Radio
was
went digital.
mandatory. Everything is. But your cell phone, think of it this way, everybody looks at their cell phone for everything, right?
Yep, I do.
And they're comfortable with it.
Yep.
So, and believe it or not, we already have a cashless society.
Yeah, because it's debit cards.
Yeah, people
You
can call it what they can call it what they want.
order.
But if
You
the
can buy
computers,
anything you want with this computer
that's
in my
right.
hand. Yeah. Okay.
And worse than that, if the computers go down, you're not going to have a cash exchange in a store. It's
No.
not going to happen, right?
No.
Because most of these stores are run by these credit card processing centers that are located in the capital of that state,
98%.
not necessarily in the, So anyway, we already have that. To move that to a bracelet, right? It's going to be a dream for people because what they're not counting on, people are going to ask for that. Do you know why?
Why?
We're about to have a meltdown in security.
And they're going to want something that was secures biometrically, so they
They're
don't
gonna
get
beg for it.
robbed all the time.
They're going to say, I don't want this. Think of it right now. People's home titles are being stolen. Their identity is stolen.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Most of the folks out there, their
There's
identity is stolen.
7 different
There
people.
There was a breakdown.
Mike,
there was a breakdown.
7 different people made Pastor Paul Begley Facebook pages using my 7 using my name, my picture.
Well, you got more than that.
I'm so
There's more than 7.
Okay, Mike. Thanks.
You got a lot more than 7. You got more than 7.
See what I'm saying?
But
Okay.
you have to have security, right? There was a recent data breach, right? That more than, I think it was 219 million people were affected. So the chances of people ending up on the dark web is a sure thing, right? That makes the
100%.
next 6 or 7 to 8 months is going to be a nightmare, right? Is happening to people who have nothing. One poor guy, he has one little computer. His identity was stolen. He's a veteran, right? He has minimal income.
Help him.
They stole his ID.
Yeah.
They robbed his title to his home. He was evicted from that home, right? He had to get out because his home was sold to somebody else. This is happening all over the USA. All over the USA.
So
the
people
USA
are
is a target for that.
People are going to beg
That's
for
right.
the biometric bracelet that secures them 100% because they can't deal
That's
with
right.
being robbed every other day.
That's right. Have you checked your device lately? Has anybody checked security on their phone lately? It is asking you to accept biometrics and get rid of your passwords.
I know.
That's your
this
authentication.
This happened to me. Lightning hit my microphone the other day. I was live on air. Boom. Okay. It was during the earthquake. It took me about 9 minutes to get back on. People were still waiting. Okay. I got back on the line. Okay. Here's what happened. It knocked when I went to go to after I got off the air that night, I went to check my emails. I couldn't get in my email. It said, "What is your name?" I typed it. "What is your password?" I put it in. It said, "Well, we're going to, what is this? What's this email here? Give us the number of this email. We're going to send you a code." I said, "Okay." So I did that. I got the code. I gave him the code. It said, "Okay, where's your backup email? Your wife's backup email." I said, "Well, for?" So I give him that. Then I said, "Wait till you get a code from her. Then you got to send it back." Mike, how many ways do I got? How many hoops do I got to jump through? What in the world's going on here? Then it asked me if I was a robot, and I almost went here and clicked this thing here what changes my voice that I can,
Well, let me get something to search for, pass balls for everybody, right? There's a sequence of numbers that you press on your phone,
Hello.
4 digits.
I am
4 digits.
I am not a robot. I am not a robot. You see what I'm saying, Mike? Go ahead.
Yep. You ready? 4 digits you press on your cell phone. I want you to look this up, though. It's 4 digits. Once you press those 4 digits, it will tell you if anybody's listening on your device, if anything is open, if anything is transmitting. Then there are 4 other digits you can select to disable any access to your phone, right? Normally, people have everything open on their phone, and they don't even know it. They shut it down by way of the settings. That does not work. Now, there's another layer to security to every single phone. So do the other one to verify it, just shut it. In fact, there are over 200 special codes. You never have to open up anybody's phone, that you can operate that phone from just pressing 4 digits at a time to control everything. And it's a call you make, 4 digit. It's a 4-digit
How
call.
do I get that? How do I get that 4 digit?
Look that up to see. Look, do this in your search bar or in your leisure. Look up the 4-digit code, right, to find out if security is enabled on your phone. It's like a 4-digit code that you call. So you're going to press like star. It'll be like star something 6 pound, and you'll press that and push call. It will list everything open on your phone, and then do another search to find out the ones that close it. Yeah,
Okay.
just do that. It's on the internet, right? It's only 2 deviations in, I believe, in the USA, only 2 deviations.
So I go on there and I say, "Hey, give me the 4-digit code that would that's a tech or it's a
that will list. That will list. It'll list running devices on your cell phone, right? Or open ports or listening ports on your cell phone. It's a call.
That?
What is the 4-digit call that you can make to your phone to list all security parameters? What is what you want to do.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what this sound is here. Hang on, Mike.
You got a sound on there?
There's some kind of sound coming from somewhere. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, list the running. Go ahead, say that again. Running
security. Let me see something. I may have seen your email on this one, so you won't have to go through all that.
Yeah, why don't you, if you don't mind.
Okay, when I get another spot, I'll send you an email.
Okay.
I'll send you 2 numbers you call, and it'll show you, and then you can choose to disable any access to your phone. Okay. Again, most people have access to the phone, and it's going. You can shut all that down. You can't do it by settings, but you can do it by making a call.
Okay, I didn't know that. So if you'll
and that's public information. Okay. It's just not it's
advertised. It's public,
right,
but not advertised.
Right.
So you're going to send that to me so I can help me out here, and I can get that done. Okay, I appreciate you doing that. I didn't know that. I mean, how would I know that? You're right, Mike. So in other words, biometrics there's no stopping this, is there? There's no stopping this.
People are going to want to, when they get hit in the pocket, because being hacked can upend your life. It can really ruin your life. You really can. Somebody steals your bank account, right? The bank is going to follow procedures. No matter what you do, that's what they're going to do. But keep in mind this bracelet. That's not the compromise. Your cell phone is not the compromise. The mark, I have my idea. I know this thing. In order to take the mark, you have to renounce all sovereignties. Right?
And you got to renounce Christ too, don't you? I mean,
that's it. That is our sovereignty, right?
Yes,
Christ.
it is. Yes, it is.
So there will be a time where people are going to have to vow. They're going to have to make another pledge.
Yep.
To be a citizen of a brand new system, and that system sadly, is being put in place as we speak. But
So yeah, so
that's where we
it's
are.
good. It's
But the
good.
bracelet is not it.
Yeah, okay, so it's good.
The
It's
bracelet's
good to
not it.
share this tonight. That folks, the bracelet is not the mark of the beast. All of these steps that they're putting out in front of us that we are walking down is still not the mark. When the mark of the beast comes, you have to deny Christ and swear your allegiance to the Antichrist or to the beast system.
Right.
And there's no turning back. Am I right, Mike?
That's right. That's right. Because you have to become a citizen of this new place.
You got to be a global citizen. You got to be a one world citizen.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
How far do you think we are, Mike, from that? How close?
Pastor, they have the stores set up. Remember last year I told you about all the Walmarts.
Yes, you
they
did.
changed, and they're on a different computing system. Everything else is set up for it. VA is set up for it. Hospitals are turning into university hospitals. They're set up for it. So the cash system is set up for it, right? And we're going to be good to go. The only thing that gives me a moment to pause is this. Every time any president messes with the Federal Reserve, something has always happened. Anytime that's happened.
Boy. So in other words,
if you look historically, right, at anybody who has ever, because the Federal Reserve, just briefly, when we print money, it comes from the Federal Reserve, right?
Yes,
they do not print enough money to pay back the interest. So what does that tell you? We're always going to be in debt to the Federal Reserve.
That's purposely being done.
Okay, there you go. So what a few presidents tried to do is to say, no, we're going to print the money, right?
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Quantum
as
easing.
Soon as they
Quantum
said that,
easing, they call it.
Well, as soon as the government, because it's only been three people that have been presidents who ever tried this, and all three died, right? So anytime somebody messes with the Federal Reserve, I'm telling you, something weird happens every single time. And it is. I mean, you can go check. It's funny. They come up with all these different things why presidents die, but all of them have that one thing in common.
They messed with the Federal Reserve.
They told the Federal Reserve that they were going to print the government was going to print the money, thus they would not be in debt to the Federal Reserve. Now, a lot of people think, well, that's the federal government. You might want to look again. It's not governed by, it's separate. It's part of the federal government, but separated so it will never be influenced by politics. It's set up that way. But they never, ever print the interest money to pay them back. They never do that.
They would never.
So that keeps the country in debt to them.
Because the Federal Reserve is actually a private institution.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we think it's the
That's right.
We think it's the government.
That's right.
So they'll never let us. We'll never balance the budget, and we'll never pay. No, it's never going to happen.
It's a big sham.
It's a sham.
Is what that is. That's a sham. We borrow money from a place who will never give us enough money to pay back the interest. So the debt piles up every time that happens.
Guaranteed.
So you've had presidents say, no, we're not doing this anymore, and they passed it, but they had it passed. And then the president, right before signing the bill, would die.
So basically, the debt ceiling, folks, will keep rising. They'll keep printing money, but they'll never print enough that can pay off the debt. They keep us in the debt. As long as they keep us in the debt, we're a slave to the system.
Guess what, Pastor? Mm-hmm. The digital world, the digital way that cryptocurrency and all that,
mm-hmm.
that platform is a debt-free platform, and the Federal Reserve does not want that. They're fighting that tooth and nail.
Are they going to do a hostile takeover on the cryptocurrency eventually?
Well, they can't. They can't do it with that. They can't even break through, all the layers of cryptocurrency. They can't do it. They're trying to stop the government from implementing a system just like cryptocurrency.
I see.
Because if the government does that, they cannot print a bunch of money and then not give us the interest or, something like that. Anyway, that's going to cause a problem. So when the current president, who they call him the crypto president, right?
Yeah,
when he starts to get into that makes me nervous. Because
so you're saying when Trump trying to push hard to defeat the Federal Reserve could end up losing his life doing that?
Well, the other presidents who have tried
have died.
They ended up the same way. So it needs prayer, and that's a real issue.
I
It's a real
appreciate
issue.
you saying that. I think that puts every person here that should be praying for President Donald Trump because he wants to defeat the debt. He hates it. And he's
He does.
he's brilliant
Yes.
with the tariff thing he's been negotiating. He's swinging cash toward America's way like never before. But he wants to take on that debt, and when he does, he's in dangerous ground, is what you're saying.
Yeah. He doesn't like the backroom stuff. He doesn't like that.
He don't like that. He
does
don't
not
like
like
secret. He don't like secret societies. He don't like the backroom deals. He wants up front. He wants to save America. He wants, but he's in dangerous ground. We got to pray for him and his family.
Anyways.
Mike, this has been an amazing show. I mean, really, to be honest with you, this is one of the most, every week we say that. These are one of the most enlightening shows, one of the most powerful shows. But it's because I think these Thursday nights is a great time for us to ask the questions, you to help us find some answers, and us go to the Word of God. It confirms it. And I just want to say thank you for doing this on Thursday nights. I appreciate it greatly. I know the people do.
Well, thank you, Pastor, for organizing. I heard BP too, so thank you, BP.
Yeah, BP was
awesome.
great. He was great tonight.
That was awesome.
Yeah, yes, he was. All right, Mike, we'll be getting a hold of you because we're gonna be doing some recording on this next webinar that the Earth is tilting. Is it tilting, Mike?
Yes, it is. It is.
Okay.
Let's not tilt with it.
Okay.
Let's stay straight.
Help me to do that.
Uh-oh.
Okay. All right. I'll talk to you later. God bless.
God bless you, basketball.
Thank you so much. God bless.
All right. God bless.
Bye-bye.